for a long, long time, Allan St Maximin was the big hope that we had in our team, and we used to rely on the fact that he was playing for us to stand a chance in any game. And that mentality is still kind of with us a little bit, even though under Howe we have proven that we're not a one-man team anymore, and that actually we can live without St Maximin. So my question is, does Allan St Maximin start any games before the World Cup? It sounds a bit mad to talk about St Maximin not walking straight back into the team and being a first choice player, but when you look at the way we've been playing recently, you kind of have to wonder how he'll get his place back, because it's not just the fact that we've coped well without him being in the team, it's have we actually improved as a team since he's not been in there? And now this is not a criticism of St Maximin by any means, so I don't want you to take this the wrong way, because I think St Maximin is quality, he gives us another dimension, he's an unpredictable player, and if we can get him fit into our team, then he could be an absolute X factor that unlocks us to another level. So I actually think that in the long run, St Maximin could be a complete difference maker that could actually take us to another level. But at the current moment, look at what we're doing. We have, since he's been out, so we haven't seen St Maximin since he scored his injury time equaliser against Wolves at Molineux. So he's missed 7 league games since then. And in those times, we've won 3 of them, drawn 3 of them, and we had that controversial defeat at Anfield. In that time, we've also scored 18 goals and we've conceded just 6. Now, that is quite impressive. We've scored 18 goals basically in 6 or 7 matches, which is almost 3 per game. So you have to say, how much are we actually missing him? On that evidence, not a lot is the answer. And so this is my question. What does Eddie Howe do? Yeah, St Maximin is back on the bench, he's fit, he's ready to go again, but does Howe just hold him back until after the World Cup and keep him fit and healthy and get him fully ready for after the World Cup? When we play Southampton, what we need to happen is we need to be solid. We need to continue to just be the team that we are, with this pressing, this working hard, this getting back. And you have to say that, since Howe has brought in having Joe Linton, Bruno, alongside Willock as well in the midfield, it has been very, very solid, and it has worked, and we've managed to beat Spurs, and we've also obviously destroyed Villa. So that team not only is very attack-minded and creative and is scoring goals, scored 6 goals in 2 games, it also gives us that more solid nature. And for me, that is key. And I wonder how we'll be thinking, well, if I put St Maximin back in, will we lose some of that sort of strength in the middle? There's a possibility that might happen. I'm not saying Allan St Maximin's lazy by any means, because I don't think he is. He's not like our other French left-wingers of the past, like Robert and Ginola, who there was more of a fair criticism that they wouldn't track back. Because actually, I think St Maximin does. In the modern game, he can't really get away with not doing that. So I don't think that's a criticism of him too much. However, does he do as much as Joe Linton, Willock and Bruno in that respect, getting backwards and forwards? Possibly not. And I think Howe will look at that and think, actually, maybe I will keep St Maximin out and just have him as an impact player. I'm not saying we're not going to see St Maximin, by the way, before the World Cup. I just think his role might be limited to kind of the last 30, 40 minutes, especially if we're struggling in a game and we need something to unlock. You look at that Chelsea game at home on the 12th of November, the last game before the World Cup that we'll play. That could be a very tight game. St Maximin might be the perfect player to come on and just sort of do his thing in the last half an hour or so. So I think there's that thing. Now, talking about the League Cup game against Palace, obviously that's the one where you think if there's any of the 3 games that he's going to start, it will be that one. But like I say, will Howe want to risk him when we've got the World Cup coming up and the games after the World Cup? I'm not sure he will. So there's a possibility he will play that game, but for me, it wouldn't surprise me if Howe didn't play St Maximin in the League Cup. I guess it depends on how much he wants to really focus on the League Cup and try and progress. My suspicion is we will be taking that competition really seriously, but I think we'll put a very strong team out. And I think it could be the fact that Howe looks at it and thinks, well, we've only got 3 games. If we can get these same sort of 11 players who've started these last few matches playing the next 3 and then having a nice break, I think that's what he'll do. So, like I said, it's not criticism of St Maximin, but I think it's a really interesting question to ask, because I just think, there's a possibility we might not see him starting a match between now and the World Cup. I'd love to know what you think on this. Do you think that that's a possibility as well, or do you think that St Maximin will come back into the team against Southampton, and Eddie Howe might want to mix it up a little bit, change things a little bit, even though we have coming off the back of some really, really, really strong results?